Welcome to another episode of Winter Weeds and Wild Vegetation. Motherwort is a distinct perennial plant introduced from Asia as a home remedy which has since escaped into natural areas. Like all members of the mint family, this plant contains a square stem and has opposite leaf and branch arrangement. The dried up stalks are still visible in the winter, and you will notice the remaining calyx tubes arranged in whorls around the stem. This is where the flowers were in the summer. It is characteristic of members of this family to have flowers arranged in the axils like this, and to also have irregular or zygomorphic flowers. Unlike many other members of the mint family, the calyx is not hairy, however they are very toothed. In the early spring, you will notice its leaves sprouting up like this, likely next to an old stalk.
What you see here is the winter stalk of a sensitive fern, which is native to Ontario. This stalk is also known as the fern's fertile frond. In the warmer months, a sensitive fern is bright green and their fronds are twice divided. The name was given to this fern by settlers who observed how sensitive the fronds were to frost, which will quickly kill them. The fronds grow from an underground rhizome, and they can spread quickly through their spores or through their rhizome. Unlike some ferns, this fern has no sori, which are groups of spores usually found underneath the blade of the fern. But instead, they have separate sterile and fertile fronds. The sterile fronds are the herbaceous, soft green fronds shown here, and the fertile fronds are the hard brown stalks. When mature, the fronds turn into bead-like subleaflets, which hold the reproductive spores. New ferns, also known as fiddleheads, emerge from the rhizome. In the spring, this fern can be identifiable by a red mass of young emerging fiddleheads, and the brown winter stalk, if it's still erect. Sensitive ferns love wet areas and can be found in moist soils in forests, wetlands, meadows, and bordering water bodies. The stalk you see here is the fertile frond of a cinnamon fern in the spring after it has lost its spores. The photo here is the fertile frond while it still has its spores intact, and this fern was named after the color of the stalk when it has its spores. The sterile fronds are green and herbaceous and twice divided. The fertile fronds emerge green and herbaceous, but will quickly turn brown and develop spores, which they will then shed in the late summer. In the spring, fiddleheads can be seen popping up at the base of the fern, identifiable by their silvery color covered in cinnamon-colored hairs. The sterile fronds grow outwards in a vase shape with the fertile, cinnamon-colored frond in the middle, which holds the plant's reproductive spores. This fern is a woodland species native to Ontario and can reach up to 6 feet in height and can be seen growing in clusters. Cinnamon ferns love growing in wet, shady areas and can be found in forests, wetlands, and bordering water bodies.